and welcome to yet another episode of the WION Sports Broadband Edition with me, Digvijay Singh Deo. Now, football has resumed in certain parts of the globe, and now the biggest golf tour in the world, the PGA Tour, is gearing up for resumption next week. I am joined at the moment by PGA Tour member and India's very own Anirban Lahiri from Bengaluru. Anirban, thank you so much for your time. When I spoke to you this morning, when I reached out to you this morning, you were in fact off to play a round of golf. So how was that feeling of actually getting some action?
It feels great. It feels fantastic. Thanks for having me on this, Digvijay. It's nice to finally, get moving, get the body moving, get the clubs out, get the rust off. It's very difficult for sports persons who've done things their whole life a certain way to have everything kind of taken away. So it's nice to actually get out of the house and be ourselves again.
So, Anirban, was there some unfamiliar feeling when you sort of hit the ball for the first time, and did you manage to hit it straight down the fairway the first time actually hit some golf balls?
It felt very weird. I don't think I've taken so much time off since I was in school. It almost felt like coming out of summer vacations where you didn't have your golf clubs with you, maybe when I was 10 or 11 years old. But no, I think it came back pretty quickly. Obviously, not where I want to be with my golf in terms of my levels, but it was just nice to, get ball on club and just hit the odd one off the middle of the face. Wasn't all that bad, to be honest, and it feels nice to go back to just feeling happy about playing a sport. Forget about everything else.
Now, usually such a long layoff happens only when you get a serious injury or there's some serious medical issues. None of that happening at the moment. But how did you cope through this entire lockdown phase?
I honestly don't think it was a terrible thing for me. I got a lot of time at home. I have a young daughter. I have a 15-month-old. I got to spend a lot of time with her. Spent a lot of time running around with my daddy duties, spent some time with my folks. Also, just nice to have some downtime. It's been very hectic for me since I've been playing on the PGA Tour for the last 5 years. I've been on the run. So, to actually just put my feet up for a little while was good. But I think after about 30 days in, it was a bit frustrating. But, we kept ourselves occupied. I got into my yoga and my workouts at home and, just try to eat healthy and do things like that. So it's been good.
And also, did this break sort of give you time to pause and perhaps some reflection and figure out what's been going wrong and how do you sort of chart a way back up those world rankings? Because now with the Olympics pushed back by a year, there's again a great window of opportunity for you to get back to the Olympic frame.
Yeah, I was actually here in India early, a couple of weeks before the Indian Open, to train with my coach, Vijay Devechai in Ahmedabad. And we had actually, like you mentioned, we introspected and we kind of did a deep dive into my game, into some of my stats, and into my performances over the last couple of years, which have been extremely disappointing, at least by my own standards. And we kind of figured out certain areas that needed some work, some areas that required a lot of attention. And we started, charting out let's say, a stepwise plan, a phase-wise plan to get back to my best. And we had just started work on that plan, literally on phase one when the lockdown happened. So I'm in touch. I'm in touch with him now that I'm able to play some amount of golf. But obviously, my going back to the US, even though the tour starts soon, will be dependent on when the international borders open up in terms of aviation. And I will also try and spend at least 15 odd days with him in Ahmedabad, which is where he's based, so that I'm able to do the work that I need before I head out. And like you mentioned, with the Olympics being postponed, it's definitely a blessing for me that I have all this opportunity and the time in front of me to do what I need to do to get to Japan. So yeah, a lot of good things have come out of this lockdown as well, and I'm trying to look at the positives and build on those.
Okay, you mentioned the PGA Tour sort of resuming, but when the tour actually shut down right at the beginning of March and right on day one of the Players' Championship, it was sort of expected to be a temporary break, just maybe a couple of weeks or 3 weeks at the most. No one sort of expected this to last 3 months. It's going to be about 3 months when the tour resumes again. And 3 months is a huge thing, not just for players, but for everyone as part of the ecosystem of golf.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like everything else that, COVID has affected. It's affected sport as well, all sport, not just golf. But yeah, I think hats off to the PGA Tour to be proactive, and they seem to be the first of the organizations, sporting organizations, the major ones globally, who are looking to get back on their feet. I think it's been a very difficult process even for them. I've been a part of some of the decision making, on the back end of the tour. And it's not been easy, as you can imagine. There's a lot of stakeholders. There's a lot of safety that you have to take care of. So, yeah, it's been, it was unforeseen, definitely unforeseen, the extent to which everything's been affected, sport and life in general. So it's actually nice to now see some semblance of resumption, some semblance of the new normal, so to say. And it'll be good to see how this, the resumption starts, the return to golf, because that's also going to set the standard, not just for golf and the other tours, which haven't yet, got resumption plans, but also for some of the other sports who are looking to start again. So really keeping my fingers crossed that everything goes smoothly. A lot of work has gone in. A little disappointed that I can't be a part of it right from the get-go, because I think the first event starts next week on Thursday. But I'm happy that at least we'll see some live sporting action again. I think that's the one thing that I realized is that being a sports person, not just golf, I like watching live sports, and that's just everyone's starved of it. So it'll be good to see that.
Okay, Anirban, you said that you've sort of had these conversations with the PGA Tour on the back end as well. But the first major question everyone seems to be asking is it safe to resume, considering the massive numbers in the US? And that's an apprehension a lot of players outside of the US like you will be having.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties of it, but fortunately for me, I've been a part of the PAC, which is the Player Advisory Council, for the last 3 years now. This is my third year on that council. So, as a player body, there's about 16 of us on that council that sit in on a lot of the major decision making. So, right from changing the structure of the FedEx Cup, which is supposed to happen this year, and a lot of other major changes, including resumption of golf after COVID. We've been in the loop. I think there was a phase where we had almost one conference call a week, and each of these conference calls lasted 2.5 to 3.5 hours, where the tour at the back end, the policy board, and the guys who were implementing some of the decisions that were being taken, all the people who were brought in. There was a coronavirus task force that was formed by the tour. There was a direct communication between the CDC, the White House. So just understanding what is the right kind of testing, how can we get testing back in time, we have a very, very thorough protocol now, about as thorough as you can. And I think it just speaks volumes about the capability of the PGA Tour in being able to do something as huge as that. So to put it in a nutshell right now, if I wanted to go and compete next week, the tour will have sent me a home testing kit, which I have to test before I travel. And only when it comes back negative and I send the results through to the tour can I board that plane. As soon as I land on the other side, I get off the plane and I'm received in a sanitized vehicle and taken directly either to the golf club or to the official hotel where I'll be tested again. All tournaments now will have official hotels which are tied up with the tour. Every location that we play golf in, the local authorities and the local labs are all been brought in. So you will test again, say the Monday of a tournament week, and the only way you tee off on Thursday is if that test comes back negative. Also, the vehicles, the places where you stay, clubhouse is also not going to be, access will not be allowed even to the players till the tests come back negative. So we've also been told to, use our cars and use the boots of our cars as our locker rooms, till we can, till everybody is 100% certain that the person is safe to go into clubhouse. Then, player dining has become takeaway. There's going to be no more buffets. Everything's going to be set up 6 to 10 feet apart. There's only single person tables. I mean, across the board, as far as you can imagine, everything is being done. Uh, Travel in between tournaments, the tournament is actually putting up charter flights for players, caddies, and personnel. And you basically finish the tournament, and as a group, the entire group goes to the airport and gets on a chartered plane that's sanitized, and you go directly to the next venue. And again, you get off the plane, you get into sanitized vehicles which have been approved by the tour and approved by certain agencies, and then you go straight to official hotel. So no family allowed. We have to bring only one other person, either a coach, a trainer, or a mind coach, whatever it is. So you're not going to see an entourage of 8 to 9 people. You're only going to be allowed one other person. No family allowed. There's so many things that have been brought into place. Obviously, no spectators to start. And this is going to be the first 4 events. So the first 4 events are going to be the return to golf events that are going to have a lot of additional regulations, a lot of other safety features. Obviously, even on the golf course, there was a lot of debate whether to have caddies, whether to touch pin flags, rake bunkers. So, there's been hours and hours and hours of thought and of back and forth before the tour decided, okay, this is probably the best way or the safest way to resume. Is it 100% safe? Obviously not.
Fair enough.
There are still chances. There are still chances that somebody is going to contract COVID, and then that was the last 2 calls that we had was entirely based around what if one guy tests positive, what is the protocol, how do we quarantine him, what does the tour do for him, how do the local authorities come in, how does he get out of there, how many days does he spend, so even if a person who's on tour and say 2 weeks, 3 weeks in, he tests positive, he has to be quarantined. The tour will take care of him. Even if it's the caddy, there's a stipend that'll be paid out even to the player and the caddy. And, every aspect as far as, the players, the caddies and the staff are concerned we've tried to cover. The tour has tried to cover. And we as players have gone back and forth with our concerns, because our greatest concern is, we want to go out and make a living, but the last thing we want to do is contract the virus and bring it home. So, nobody wants that to happen either. The tour doesn't want it, the players don't want it, and it's not good for anybody. So, the reality is, how do you deal with this situation? Because the situation is not going to go away anytime soon. So, it'll be really interesting, and I have my fingers crossed. I think a lot of measures and precautions and regulations have been put in place, and let's see how they stand up to the real test. So, but to answer your question, if I was in America or if I was able to play, would I play? Absolutely.
Okay, that was pretty detailed explanation and clearly shows that the kind of involvement you've had with all these processes, Anirban. But this one thing about this resumption of tour, which doesn't seem fair to me, and I'll put that across to you, is that unlike tennis, which is a global tour, and which needs participation from all over the world to actually come together, players to come together to be eligible to play in tournaments. The PGA Tour is primarily an American tour which has members like you who are from other parts of the world. But for all of you all, and I've also been reading about a few players in England who've decided not to go in because of the quarantine regulations. There is a mandatory quarantine, 14-day, either way perhaps. Right now with all this, it's pretty fluid at the moment. So do you think that at this point of time, you can't go there and play simply because you're here in India, there's no resumption of flight, and ultimately it's not the fairest thing, but you can't do anything about it?
Yeah, I think to cover that aspect and to deal with that, that's the reality of the situation. Is it going to be fair for everyone globally? It's not. But how do you deal with that situation? And to deal with that, situation that is the case, like you just mentioned, what the tour has done, it was the first of the global golf tours to actually come out and say, you know what, if you have playing rights in 2020, if you're eligible to play on the tour, you will have the same playing rights the following year. So assuming that and I know that Tommy and Lee are not going to go and play, and they made a statement about the 14-day quarantine. But the thing is, even when the European tour plans to resume in September, the players are still being asked to come 14 days before, and then they try and spend a month in the UK and play as many events as possible. The Asian Tour is releasing a calendar where it's trying to play 3 events in India, and they're trying to play 2 events in Korea. And I think that will be the trend, because whether you like it or not, most countries are going to have mandatory quarantines put in place to protect the greater population. So what happens to people like us who are traveling salesmen pretty much? We are going week to week, country to country at times, plying our trade. So to that extent, you're not going to be able to escape that situation. So the PGA Tour does have a massive advantage in the fact that it is self-contained. It doesn't really need to travel outside of the US to have an entire season. They can actually have 35, 40 events within the United States and not have to have, international quarantine issues. So I would say, that's definitely an advantage. Is it fair? It depends on which side of the fence you are. It'll be unfair to, some of the other players who are not in the US. But, even I'm not complaining about the fact that I can't tee it up, because at this point of time, it's about survival. It's about getting through this phase, and it's about being able to resume doing what we do. I think that's the primary concern. Even like I mentioned, I went into detail with, all the precautions and the measures. Even with all this and much more that I didn't talk about, there were still some players who said, but you know what? I'm uncomfortable playing. I said, well, that's your choice. You don't have to come and play. You can stay at home, and you can, if that makes you feel safer, then we're fine by that, because at the end of the day, it's the choice of the player. At the end, and we are athletes. I mean, if you were to tell, if you were to tell the athletics team that you have to go somewhere for a world championship and you have to get there 14 days before, I'm sure they wouldn't have a problem, because that's what they do. So it's a personal choice as well. And I will never begrudge somebody for saying, I'm not going to do it and it's unfair. But I won't take that side and jump on that bandwagon and say, oh, this is not right. The other thing, Digvijay, also is that if you look at a lot of the other tours, everybody's looking at the PGA Tour to set the standard. A lot of guys who don't know exactly how to resume are saying, okay, let's see what these guys do. Let's learn from their mistakes if they make some. And let's also learn from the good things that they do that we can implement on our tour. I know that's definitely a strategy that the Asian Tour is employing, because that's one of the things they made very clear, that we need to figure out what is the best way to resume. So if anything, the PGA Tour is actually going to be the industry leader in basically telling people, all right, guys, this is how we restart and this is how we get back to it. So, yes, there's going to be two sides to a coin, but I think, again, from the perspective of someone who loves the sport and plays golf for a living, I'd rather see live golf. I'd rather see competitive golf sooner than later.
Okay, I think, what we're also seeing with the German Bundesliga is that football has been looking at the German Bundesliga to sort of see if things are okay. And then now you're now seeing the La Liga, Premier League all announcing dates for resumption. But Anirban, for you, are you now looking at whenever it's possible to get back to the United States, are you looking at flying in there, serving your mandatory 14-day quarantine period, and then perhaps staying there till the end of the year? Because this constant back and forth isn't going to help anyone. So perhaps just take an extended leave of absence from family and just be there.
It's going to be it's definitely going to be important for me that whenever I do leave, I'm going to have to be there for a while. It's not going to be like it was before, that you get on a flight and you just go, you play one tournament and you come back. A lot of the dynamics are going to change. And definitely, I mean, I live there. We have our home there. So, for me, I need to get back home. I need to get back to my home tour as well. I love being in India. I love it here. I'm having a great time, and it feels like a holiday to me, to be honest, because I'm not working. But the thing is, whenever I have, a finite deadline, and I think that's the case with all athletes, any athlete. If you know that, okay, I've got to be ready for an event in 60 days or 70 days or 90 days or 10 days, you immediately throw in, you go into a schedule, you create a system where you can get to your prime by the time you need to go. The problem that has happened here is that it's lockdown 4.0 and 3.0 and 5.0, and flights will resume maybe in June, maybe end, maybe July, maybe. So there is no definite timeline. And for me, as soon as I have a definite timeline, I'm going to start getting into that same state of mind and basically gearing up for what I need to do. What do I need to do before I leave? How much time do I need to spend? How much time do I need to train? And 14 days that I'm going to be, in the States, what do I do those 14 days? How do I then have to look at schedule? So those things will happen and kick in as soon as there is a definite timeline. And that is something that I'm, not anxiously, I'm patiently waiting for. The anxiety went about 45 days in.
Yes. But it's fair you say that, because that's what a lot of other sports persons who I've spoken to over the course of the series have told me, that right now there's too much uncertainty. It's only when they have a sort of finish line in sight then they can start really picking up their game. But the action resumes, as you said, next week at the Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial. And just looking at the entry list, all the big names are all there. This does it sort of show the desperation to just get back to playing and sort of those throw off those shackles, and seems.
No, absolutely. It's a sign of what all of us are feeling, all athletes. In fact, on that same player advisory committee, there's guys like, Justin Thomas and Rory and John Rahm, and all of us are on that committee. And when we were interacting with each other, it's like we were asking each other question, hey, Rory, would you go play? He's like, damn right, I'm going to go play. Or, hey, Ban, do you want to go play? Absolutely, I want to go play. So, we all want to play. We all want to compete. This is what we do. I mean, 4 months, 3 months of, a lot of us sitting around doing nothing is not something that we can do. It's very hard. I think you've met so many sports persons, you've interacted with so many of us. We're all OCD in one way or the other, and we're all uber focused on what we want to do. So, at the end of the day, when you don't have that something, it becomes very frustrating. So you want to get out there, you want to get back, and you want to compete. That's what we love to do. We want to compete. And that's why you're seeing such a star-studded entry list. Another thing you will realize, Digvijay, is that we are looking at having a FedEx Cup this year. And a lot of guys who actually bank on playing in the summer, the spring-summer part, haven't had that chance. A lot of guys don't play in the fall. They don't play between September and December. And those guys who basically play between January and August, now they don't have 4 months to play. So they're like, oh, wow, now I got to play. I've got 10 starts to, try and get to the FedEx Cup hunt. So all of a sudden, they're like, oh, I wish I would have played a few more events end of last year. And the guys who played a lot end of last year are like sitting pretty. So, those are the dynamics also that change, because certain people like to play the West Coast. Some people like to play Florida swing. Certain people like to base their entire year around the majors, 3 of which now are up. I mean, were up in the air. We would have been looking at the 3rd major of the year in 2 weeks, right? So there's a lot of that dynamic as well. The scheduling thing that has been thrown off gear has made a big impact on why you see very, very strong fields going forward, through to the end of the FedEx Cup.
Okay, but a lot of your American golfers usually stay on golf courses. That's the kind of houses they have out there. So they've probably been practicing all through, because in certain parts of America, golf courses weren't shut down. But there's not. It's not like being part of a competitive golf. Do you see that once the sport finally resumes, that at least for the first 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to see some very strange leaderboards? Do you think that could happen?
Yeah, I think you'll definitely see a lot of rust. And it's just, which is normal. You'll see a lot of rust, especially, I would think it'll even improve, a couple of rounds, 3 rounds into the tournament. But I don't think it lasts very long. This is the PGA Tour, and these guys, most of my friends, they've been playing a lot of golf. I mean, it's not been out here. Our lockdown and their lockdown is apples and oranges. Their lockdown was go to the store and go get a haircut, but just don't sneeze in public. It was really very watered down. And I'm glad that we've been very stringent or relatively stringent, because we would have had disastrous numbers if we weren't. But coming back to what we've seen initially, I personally don't think you'll see a lower standard of golf. But you may just see the depth of the tour come through. You might see a lot of guys who people haven't heard of maybe contend, or you might just see the Rorys and the DJs and the Jordans flourish, which is also to be expected. So it's very difficult to actually say that, oh, this is what's going to happen, because as far as I know, no golf course in America was shut for more than a couple of weeks. And those golf courses which were shut for a couple of weeks were, in the middle of the hottest zones. I was chatting with one of my friends in New Jersey right at the height of the pandemic, being in New York. And he was saying, oh, it's crazy. There's no food. You can't buy toilet paper, but you can go play golf if you want. Every golf course is open. I mean, it was that I won't say ridiculous, but, that was the situation. That people were falling like flies. Apologies for the comparison, but golf courses were still open. So a lot of the golfers, like you said, live on golf courses and base themselves around places where they practice. They've been playing golf, and I'm sure a lot of the pros have been playing with each other. That's what we do out here. I mean, I remember when I was playing PGTI and Asian Tour, we used to have massive breaks in the summer. And that's what we do. We'd get 4, 5 of us together, 8 of us together, and we'd just compete with each other just to stay sharp. And I think a lot of guys have been doing that. So I don't think you'll see that much rust, but you will see some competitive rust. But it's not going to be enough to say that the level's gone down. You'll be surprised. The depth will shine through because it's very, very deep.
And not just the depth, Anirban. I think what you could see is some very, very close results. It's close leaderboards on that final Sunday. But, because we look at it from the outside, you're a professional who plays day in, day out. You can pick up minute details better than I can. So have you been able to see some of these golfing events that were up, these charity ones, which had McIlroy, which had DJ, which had Ricky Fowler, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson?
Honestly, I haven't watched a single shot of those two exhibitions. I've had a whole bunch of my friends call me up and say, "Hey, did you see that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can't." I mean, if you were to call, a professional cricketer and ask him, "Did you see this exhibition match?" he would probably laugh at you. I think I don't have the patience to watch exhibition matches, because at the end of the day, they are exhibitions. These guys are having fun. It's got no correlation to what you see when competitive golf starts. It's fun and games. You're trying to do something for charity. Of course, you're going to hit great shots. Of course, you're going to make some bombs on the greens. But it's not a reflection of competitive golf. It'll never be. Maybe the dynamic between Tiger and Phil, there's a little bit of banter there, and they kind of probably pushed each other a little more than DJ, Ricky, Matt, and Rory. But no, I haven't watched a single shot, and I wouldn't be able to help you out there. So.
Yeah, I wasn't asking for a tip. I was basically trying to ask you that how did they look, but you sort of indicated where the answer to that lies. Final question before I let you go. Fans right now not happening not just in golf but across sport. But the other big question coming up in September is the Ryder Cup. No decision yet. The Ryder Cup, a lot of players, and what I see on TV, the likes of Ian Poulter and all, that thrive on the atmospherics. A Ryder Cup without fans, is that the way ahead, or just push it back by a year and wait till things improve?
I think Europe will take it with both hands because they're playing in America. But I'd love to see it happen. It's going to be it's scheduled to be played at Whistling Straits, which is, one of my favorite courses of all time. So it's a great match play golf course. So I hope it happens, but I don't know. I would not want to be in a team competition without fans. But I can definitely see it from the other side with the Europeans would love it, because I think that's your extra team. You need that extra bit, and it definitely helps. It can backfire as well, but it's just something that's needed. I think team events are the only events that become spectator sport. More like a stadium sport in golf. Obviously you have a lot of people, you have thousands of people who walk around during regular events, but the atmosphere, I think the closest you could come to a soccer or any other stadium sport is a team event in golf, which is the Ryder Cup or Presidents Cup. So yeah, I hope it happens. Obviously, the authorities will have to take a call on the spectators. I mean, they'll know better than you and me here what they should do, but I hope it happens.
Okay, a Ryder Cup without American spectators, as you said, is something the Europeans will lap up, considering the kind of boisterous atmosphere we saw in Paris the last time the Ryder Cup was played. But Anirban, thank you so much. There's some great perspective coming for you. Just sitting here in India, reading of what's happening and trying to sort of get an idea is doesn't give the full picture. To have someone who's in the thick of it and sort of involved in all these back and forth, as you put it out there, is truly fascinating. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we see you back there pretty soon as it's safer to travel.
Yeah. Thanks, Digvijay. I hope to be back in action soon, real action. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.